All right. And the idea with these success meetups, so some of you have been here, some of you haven't, that's okay, is to provide a more interactive training experience for you. So we currently offer them on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays, so today, tend to be more basic uses of KV Core, things like that. And then on Wednesdays, they're more advanced and they might be things using tools outside of just KV Core, right? So for example, a couple weeks ago, we did setting up automated responses through Facebook Messenger, right? So something that can be utilized with KV Core, things that can kind of work together and interconnect, but not something that's exclusive to KV Core. So that's the idea with these different success meetups, is that we are providing value to you and then we open it up to a big Q&A. So we don't usually take the whole hour. I'm not planning on taking the whole hour today, but today we're going to do a deep dive into the listings tab. And so unmute yourself, shout out your questions, chat your questions in, raise your hand, all that good stuff. The idea is that this is all about what you want it to be about. So I've prepared a little something about a deep dive on the listing tab, but we could really open it up to whatever it is that you all want to talk about. So my name is Christina Hampton. I get to be your trainer and your host today. I am a senior product trainer here at Inside Real Estate. I've been training on KV Core here at Inside Real Estate for about 3.5 years. And before that, I trained at a brokerage and I trained that brokerage on KV Core. So that's what brought me here today. I want to share it with even more agents. And so now that's what I get to do all the time. And I love it. So our listings tab deep dive. So when you first log into KV Core, we have all of our navigation here on the left. Before we dive in, how many of you would say that you look at this listing tab on a regular basis? And whatever that means to you, however you want to define regular basis. A couple of us. Yeah, and so it's something that the reason I wanted to talk about it is it's one of those features in KV Core that's often overlooked because we have, of course, a lot of automation and a lot of lead generation, and that's kind of where we spend most of our focus. But I love this listings tab because it showcases kind of an overall feeling of KV Core, but in one spot. So what I mean by that is there's a lot that you can do in KV Core, just like there's a lot you can do in this listing tab, but you don't have to do it all. And you can pick and choose the features of it that are best for you, and then how often you're going to utilize that feature. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So listings, that is the fourth item down on the left-hand side. And you can see there's also some kind of suggested searches or filters already done for you here. We're just going to look on our regular listings. So we have all of the listings that are a part of the MLS that are already included in the MLS that we are a part of. And you can also go in and manually add listings. Some of you, but not all of you, will also have sold data in here as well. Right, so lots of different things that you can do. If you have it, you'll see this sold right here, and then we get a sold feed from that MLS as well. We don't get that for everything, so just so you know. So we're going to focus on the MLS listings, and if we get to the manual listings, we'll talk about that part too. So the MLS listings, it's going to show you, again, all listings that are active in the MLS that you're a part of, most recent one being on top. Now, each MLS does feed into KV Core at a different rate. So if you do want to know exactly the rate for you and your MLS, that's something that you'll need to reach out to support about. Okay, so when I'm in KV Core and I'm searching for listings, there's all kinds of reasons I might do this. I might do this because I want to manually send some listings to my contacts. I might do this because I might have a client or a lead who's really, really, really specific about the properties that they get sent. They might not want an automated search alert because maybe it's just sending them too many things that aren't quite the right thing for them. So different things like that. Why I might come in here and filter for a listing. Now, this listing here, or this filter, you can look for all listings. If you're a listing agent, you can look for My Listings or your team or your agency. So this can be really beneficial, these filters here, depending on what you're going to do with the listings that you find. So for example, maybe you don't have any listings on your own. However, maybe you're part of a brokerage and you're allowed to advertise any listings that are part of that brokerage to get leads for yourself. All right, so that would be a really good reason to add to your workflow to come in here and toggle agency listings. I might do this once a week. And then a good practice is still to ask the listing agent for permission. Some of you don't need to do that, but you definitely could. So that's one thing I might do from here. I'm going to look for listings that I can then advertise and leverage to generate leads. Okay. So other things that I might do is, I might look for everything, or I might look for a specific listing agent. I might come in here and do a search, right? So for example, maybe I did a sales funnel with a landing page. And on that landing page, I said, hey, there's lots of luxury listings in the area. If you want to know my handpicked favorite listings every single week, sign up below. Right now, that's a good hook because it's your exclusive listings, your exclusive picks, I should say. So you build that landing page with that hook and that funnel. So now you need to fulfill your end of the promise, sending them your featured luxury listings each week. You can absolutely create a listing search alert to do that for you, kind of automatically send them listing alerts, just kind of that meet certain criteria. Maybe that's a price point, maybe it's the number of floors, maybe it's a number of square footage. You can absolutely automate that. For something like this, I kind of like the idea of hand selecting them myself. It's more work, it's more of a personal touch, and then you can use that as a full system, right? Use your landing page to hook the leads, and then you come in here every Wednesday and you look for properties that might be considered luxury in your area. You handpick 1, 2, or 3 and send it out to everyone that you met from that landing page, right? And then you can then also text them the next day and ask them what their favorite one was. So you're kind of creating your own follow-up system. You're creating your own follow-up system, right? Kind of like we do with smart campaigns to automate and search alerts. This approach might be for someone who's a little bit more hands-on, maybe doesn't like the automation quite so much. So that's another reason I might come in here. So let's work that through. I'm going to come in here to my filter. I'm going to create a filter. I'm going to pick maybe San Diego County. That's where I currently live. I could pick a city, a zip code, a neighborhood. I could pick all kinds of nuances in here, but we're just going to keep it broad, San Diego. Then we're going to do a minimum of $1 million for our price point. And then we're going to add something else in here. We could add a bed count. We could do property type. Oh, there's my password manager, go away. We could do some different general options, right, which gives me a nice clean list. So I might do water view. Maybe this week, that's what we're going to pick out. We're going to pick out some water view properties or waterfront properties over $1 million and apply that filter. So now I have properties all in San Diego, all over $1 million, right? And I could pick and choose, okay, what was listed in this last week? So it'd be those, and I might pick all 3 of them, or I might just pick one, either one. So now that I have my list of my exclusive, luxury picks, I'm then going to go to more actions and send this either via email or text or both to a hashtag. Right. So in this scenario that we're working through, we build our landing page with our hook of, my luxury listings. And we gave them a hashtag, of course. So now here I am using my filters in my listing section to find my favorite luxury properties and send it to my people. So I could say, here's my email, hashtag luxury. And then I come in here and I decide that I am going to say, your weekly luxury eye candy is here. You can even put in an emoji if you want to. And I'm going to say, hey, include my lead's first name. Check out these listings. This week, my picks are all water view. I know it's past Labor Day, but it's always summer in Southern California. Well, or San Diego. I'll just say San Diego. Right, so something cute like that, quick, easy. The idea here is I'm just keeping in touch with people, right? I would probably add some kind of questions, some kind of engagement on here if that was my goal, to get them to talk to me. So it kind of depends on what my goal is. My goal might just be to send them the listings I said I would send. In this case, my goal is, that's exactly my goal. I know it's past Labor Day, but it's always summer in San Diego. Which one of these is your dream home? All right, shoot me a message and we can always go tour one. So something like that might be my goal here, or my goal might just be sending properties to people so they think about me, either one. So now I send it on its way. So all of that, one big long example to show you that one thing you can do in this listing section is filter for specific listings, right? And then what you do with that list of listings is up to you. So in this case, we selected our favorites and we emailed it to a hashtag or a group of people. But I could email or text it to an individual person. I could look at one listing, right? Maybe I filtered here for listings and I'm going to click on one of them. And now I can work with this one listing specifically. I could still send this one listing to a person on the top right, or to a group of people, right? Still have my hashtags. One of my absolute favorite little things to do here in this listing section is, after you're done doing a showing, if it was someone's favorite property, come here and save it. Because add to saved, this little nugget is one of my absolute favorite nuggets, because it's just another way to connect with your clients at this point. If you're showing them houses, it's just a little known feature of KV Core, and it keeps them within you as the bubble, right? We want to keep them away from those other portals where they can go to look at listings, right? And so this is one way to redirect them back to your site, right? So let's say I just went and showed Frank some properties. So we're going to look for Frank in here. There he is. I thought you might be interested in this property. Well, in this case, I already know. So I'll say, Frank, this one was your favorite for the day. I've saved it to your profile. You can view it anytime on my website. And then it has a link to that property, right? So in this case, I'm going to send them a comment. I'm going to email Frank, let him know that I'm saving this for him. I also could choose not to comment if I don't want him redirected, but I like to redirect. Right, so now Frank, this got added to his favorites, and this also has now been sent as an email to Frank. And now when Frank goes to my agent website, this property is saved as one of his favorite properties. So it allows him, again, to stay with me as the real estate portal. That's what I want. So lots of actions in here. Some of these other actions are printing out a QR code. So this QR code, you can right click, or if you're on a Mac, Control, don't remember right now, and save your image, right? And so I might choose to save this image because I can put it on a water bottle label, or I can put it on an open house flyer, right? Either to advertise or when they leave, anything like that. Now, QR codes have certainly jumped back up in popularity, that's for sure. And so what this QR code will do is, whoever scans it, it's going to take them to see this listing on your agent site. So again, it's just focusing them back towards you. Right now, in the scenario of where they just left your open house, If they come here and they're a new lead, right? In this case, I'm Valerie, so I'm already here. But if they come to your site and they're a brand new lead, that's fine, because if they look at the property, it will have them register and it'll have them enter in their email address. And the system recognizes like email addresses and it puts those as one contact. So you don't have to worry that, oh, now I have 5 different records for this one person. It kind of all works together. So here, now that I'm on my agent website as my lead, I can save this property. I can ask questions, request a showing all right from here. I can get property alerts. I can even print out information, or maybe I want to share it, and I can share this out as well. I can scroll down, get to know all kinds of info about this property. I can look at it on a map. I can scroll down and see, a live street view, a Google map view, and see, okay, what is going on here. So I can decide if I really want to live in that area. So lots of good things just by driving more traffic to our website. That QR code is a great way to do that. I've also seen it be really successful when you put out your open house signs, right? Someone might not be able to stop for your open house, but they might stop and scan this code. Maybe they're out for a walk or out for a drive or whatever it is. Maybe they drive by, they're interested in this house, but they just don't have time, right? They didn't plan to go to an open house. This one caught their eye. So if they scan this code, again, now they're on your website. And the more we can drive people to your website, the more insight you get, the more leads you get, all good things. Right? Questions about the listings tab. Remember, throw up your hand, chat them in, unmute yourself, all that kind of good stuff. And I'm talking kind of fast here because I love the listing section. I can also quickly post it out onto different social media accounts. Now, for those of you who are used to our squeeze pages, that is personally my recommendation. Just because I can come here to post to Facebook, I personally prefer the squeeze page because I can source it, I can hashtag it, I just get more control and I get more options and I get to label my leads. But this is quicker, if you're looking for like the quick, dirty way to post things real quick, I can do that. So Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, I would all recommend squeeze pages for those personally. But the one I do really like here is Craigslist. Right, so post to Craigslist. I've installed the KV Core extension. If I hadn't, it would have popped up and told me that I needed to do that. Now, I've been talking while the magic has been happening. So let's do that again. I go to more actions, I go down and I click post to Craigslist. Now, I'm not clicking any buttons here. That's, you can see my hands, right? I'm doing nothing. And so here's the only button I've had to pick. And it's because San Diego is so large. So we have to tell Craigslist, what part of San Diego are you interested in? So this is Chula Vista South. There we go. Still no buttons, all happening for me. And now I've made a Craigslist post. So it's fast, it's quick, it's free, it's easy. I'm a fan. I get questions all the time. Is Craigslist relevant? It depends on you and your market. For me, open houses are here a lot, rentals are here a lot. There definitely are some listings. But I'm a big fan of when you're listing a home or trying to get leads, put feelers out everywhere because you don't know where the top bidder is going to come from. Maybe the top bidder is coming from an area where Craigslist is popping, right? And you don't want to exclude that person, especially because it's fast, quick, free, and easy. Maybe the top buyer is coming from Instagram, or maybe they are coming from newspaper advertising. We don't know, right? You don't know till they get there. So especially because this is fast, quick, free, and easy, one last time, that's why I pretty much would always post things on Craigslist. That's up to you. But so it gives you, gives the basic information, it gives the public description. Now, how you actually get leads from here is a little different because you can't post links in Craigslist. So they can click reply, and that reply is going to go into your normal email, right? So that has not hit KV Core. You'll want to then add that lead into KV Core. You can do that. Alternatively, we do add a text code in here. So we're not going to go full deep dive into a text code, for example, but I am just going to let you know that that is one way for you to get leads, and it's utilizing text codes. I am sure we will do, if we haven't already done, a text code day coming up. I know I'm a big fan of them. And I am going to chat out some articles. I haven't done that yet. So here is a listing tab overview article. And then for any of you who are interested in text codes, I'm a big fan of them. Send you an article about text codes as well. All right. So the whole idea about this and doing this deep dive into the listing tab is pick one thing that I've shown you that you get really excited about and add that into your workflow, right? The thing that you're really excited about might be posting everything on Craigslist, right? Maybe that's going to be part of your new workflow. You're going to set a timer, do 3 minutes, post as many as you can in 3 minutes that are, in the area that you want to work in, and move on with your day. All right, you do that once a week. Right? Again, last time, fast, quick, free, and easy. So there's a lot of things that you can do here at this listings tab. So other things that you can do, there's all kinds of little tabs in here. So as an agent, all right, we're gonna take a side step here. I've got my dashboard and I can actually see all the properties that people are looking at. So maybe I've noticed that one of my leads, Valerie, favorited this property right here. I know that because there's a heart on it. So before I call her and talk to her about that listing, or before I text her and follow up with her about that listing, I might want to get to know that listing. And so I can just click on the image right from here, and it takes me to that property within kvCORE. Right. So now I'm getting more familiar with this listing. I can read, again, these are the public comments, not the private agent comments, but I'm learning more about this property. I'm learning about the amenities, some general features, and I'm getting to know this property specifically. Now, depending on your MLS, different features are going to pull in here. So I encourage you to come and look and see what features are feeding in from the MLS. If you're ever missing something, please let us know. Reach out to support. Say, hey, this feature is searchable on my MLS, but it's not coming through here. Here's my MLS data sheet, and we can figure out what's going on with the feed. I can see, okay, are any of my leads viewing this? Yeah, one of them. Right? I can see if any leads in my overall brokerage are looking at this. How many people on kvCORE in general have looked at this, right? So kvCORE views, that's all people who use kvCORE. Brokerage activity, that's my entity, my company in kvCORE. So only one person in my company has looked at this. So my buyer is likely going to come from outside. Let me make sure I'm advertising, or let me go ahead and make sure I've promoted my listing, ran my playbook to promote my listing to agents within my own entity. Right? So I could get all kinds of information. When's my next open house? Okay, so if this is on the 11th, oh, that just happened. So, if it was coming up tomorrow, I'd probably want to call up my lead, my client, and say, hey, there's an open house tomorrow. Do you want to go see it today? Because it's probably going to go off the market tomorrow, and I want you to get a chance. Right. So I'm just using this MLS information and the fact that my lead, my contact has saved it, and I'm using that as a way to interact with them. I can also view the full galleries. This is all the photos coming in from the MLS. I can view it on a map if I'm not quite as familiar with the area. I can even, again, see that Google Street View, so I know exactly what's going on here. Now, I can also see, these are two of my favorite, this similar listings and the nearby listings. So the reason I like the similar listing is because it shows me a list of properties that are similar. Okay, and now we have a very, very specific list of similar criteria. So I'm going to chat that out to you. We don't just make it up, right? So a similar listing is within 10 miles. So it's not super close, but it's not super far. It's in the same state, right? So if you are on that state line, it has a similar-ish value, right? And it's visually similar, right? And they're also around the same time frame. So that's going to make something similar. So, for example, okay, this is in Laguna Beach. It's near-ish to the price point. So I can see all these similar listings. So I've got Valerie who just saved this property. I might choose to then come here and look at similar listings, click this button to select all of these listings, and text her a link to all of these properties. Now, do not mess with this property link here. I highlighted it to show you don't want to make edits. This is going to link to those listings specifically on your agent website, right? So this autofills for you. You don't have to think about it, right? I think you might like these listings. They are similar to the one you favorited on whatever street that is. I can't read that. I should have read it first, right? So I'm going to send her a link to similar properties. I also like to do that post open house. Post open house, I might come in here, grab a list of similar listings and email it to my hashtag of people I met at an open house. I could do the same thing with nearby, right? Maybe I reach out to Valerie who favorited this and say, hey, is it the property or the area that you really liked? Because maybe it's the area, so I'm going to send her nearby listings. Now, these are all over the place price-wise, right? So we've got some rentals in here. We've got like quite a big price difference in here, but it's showing I could pick and choose, right? So if I click, okay, what's happening at 62 Cartwheel? Let's go and explore that listing. Okay, it's not quite right, so let me go back, right? So I can dive into those things. I can look at the activity here, right? So who of my leads, I've got my lead activity. So this is like my overview. Let's actually look and see what that is, right? So I've got Valerie who viewed this property. I could call her right here. Right, so I love this listings tab. I'm just going to say that one more time. I can also look and see if I have matching buyers. So this matching buyers is anyone who this property showed up in their search alerts, right? So if this property is in their search alerts, that's when they're going to show up in matching buyers. Right, now I skipped over timeline. Did that on purpose. Timeline is really only if this is your listing. Everything else I've been showing you is you could be a listing agent, you could be this listing agent, you could be a buyer agent, you could be a new agent, a seasoned agent, whatever you want. All agents can do all the things that I've been showing you. But this timeline here, this is really only if it's your listing, because we have a feature called the seller report. The seller report goes out automatically to your sellers. It lets them know, what activity you've been doing for them. And originally, it just showed like how many people have been viewing their listing, their property on KV Core. And so we wanted a way to, add more information to that. And so that's what we can do here with this timeline. So this timeline is going to add more information to the weekly seller report. So I'm going to add a comment here and pick my date. So maybe this weekend I held an open house and we had 25 buyers, potential buyers, 3 offers, and I want this to be featured. I want my sellers to know exactly what happened. Or maybe I just want it on the report in general, so I just leave it with nothing checked. Or maybe this is an internal communication that I'm having with my team. If I'm in a team in KV Core, we can use this to like interact with each other, right? So in that case, I would say, okay, CMH, that's my initials, held open house. Sorry, can't type. 25 potential buyers, 3 offers, hide from report, add comment. Right, and then there it is. So I really like this timeline because It allows you to communicate with each other. It also allows you to communicate with your client. So we talked about a lot here in this listings tab. We did filters, we dove into a specific listing, we talked about mass sending lists, mass sending individual properties, lots of things that we can do in this listing section. So chat in or unmute yourself. What's something you learned today? What's a new feature and how are you going to use it? And how often are you going to use it? Like Anthony, what on here are you like, yes, I can't wait to use Craigslist? Or if nothing on here really float your boat, that's okay too. What other questions do you all have for me? Let's enter the general open Q&A session. The reminder, you can unmute yourself. Oh, got a couple people who came in after I did that. Let me change that for you. So you can unmute yourself, you can ask questions, you can chat them in, anything KV Core related. Kellyanne, what about you? You all came here for a reason today. Did you get your reason answered?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions for me? Something you want me to go into? Requests for future topics as well? Yeah, good tips. Cool. Okay. Jason, do you feel like you got a good tip? Did you walk away with something that you can use? Awesome. Okay, cool. Sean, you want to talk about smart campaigns? What about smart campaigns? Let's do it. Buyers. Okay. So when we're in our smart campaigns marketing, Sean, have you made any of your own smart campaigns ever? What's kind of your...
No, ma'am, I have not.
All right. What's kind of like your comfort level with smart campaigns in general?
I've never done one or set one up. I kind of watched a brief video on them, but I guess just wanted to see, I guess, just about setting one up exactly for like a first time buyer or something.
Yeah. So a smart campaign is a pre-created plan of action, right? And the ones that we have in here that we've created are designed for someone's status and someone's deal type. So if you're looking at someone who's specifically a first-time buyer, they're not necessarily a new lead as far as KV Core is concerned, right? And you could kind of define these however you want, but I want to show you the new lead buyer smart campaign. Now, mine's a mess because I make copies and do this all the time. What you'll see on yours, much cleaner. You'll only see one unless you've been in here, a company created one. So with smart campaigns, we have their name, we have the description of them, and then this starts when and designed for. That's how this attaches to someone. Those are the triggers. So this one specifically that we start out with, this is for new leads who are buyers. So for example, I talked at the beginning of today, making a landing page for people who are looking at luxury listings. Those could be new leads who are buyers, right? A new lead is someone that you really don't know much about. They probably clicked on an ad, or they might not even have realized they clicked on an ad. Like if you do our Property Boost product, we get those. Like they don't even, they clicked on on a house. They don't realize that they click on an ad and submit their info sometimes because it goes so fast. And so that's what we're doing with this new lead buyer campaign. So I can click on the name of that campaign and get to know like the actions. Okay. So as soon as that lead comes in, I get tasked to send a text message and I get a scheduled call, because new leads are all about speed to lead. The quicker I can contact them, the better. Right now, for you specifically, once you know that they're a first-time home buyer, do you find that out, Sean, because you've had a conversation with them, or because they're coming in for like a new lead buyer program? Like, how do you know that they're a first-time home buyer?
So I kind of just said first time home buyer, but just I guess just working with new buyers in general is what is more of what I meant. But just
Yeah,
new buyers.
for sure. Because, well, the reason I wanted to ask that kind of clarifying question, because if you had a conversation and you know that they're a first time home buyer, then to me, they're not really a new lead anymore. They're more of a prospect because you know something about them. But if you did, like if you did a landing page that says, hey, are you a first time home buyer? Click here. You haven't talked to them yet. So while you know they're first time home buyer because that's how you kind of hooked them in, they would still be a new lead because you still haven't really communicated with them at all yet. So that's just how we separate those two. You can take that. That's kind of the beauty of campaigns, is you can say, well, I still want to use the new lead buyer campaign, or I still want to call these people new leads, not prospects. That's fine. I just wanted to point out kind of that difference as far as we at KV Core think about the status. So like your primary relationship with them. So the new lead buyer campaign here, this will attach to anyone who looks at a property that's for sale on your website. So you can drive them there for squeeze pages, landing pages, property boost. There's all kinds of making your own Facebook ads. If someone goes to your website, they're going to come in as a new lead buyer. You can also connect in your own outside lead sources, that kind of a thing too. And so the idea with this campaign specifically is I'm on a fact-finding mission because they are new. I don't actually know what they're looking for. So I'm going to, thank them for coming to my website. I'm going to put them on search alerts, which hint happens automatically if they go to your website anyway. So just know that. And then I'm going to figure out more about them, right? Are they an investor? That text goes out automatically. Are they, what's helpful for you as a buyer? Do you need to talk to a lender? Have you already talked to a lender? A text message, hey, I can set up or adjust the search alerts. So I can, and then my phone calls, those are for me to call, introduce myself, get to know them. At any point in time, the way KV Core is set up, if at any point in time they respond to one of these things, like it's all about engagement, we will change their status to active. So if we look at our active smart campaign, this is very different. The active smart campaign is a once a week check-in reminder, because when someone becomes an active lead, it's kind of where KV Core and I are still splitting 50-50 kind of the work of communication here. Before that, if they're like a new lead or a prospect, KV Core is doing most of the work. Active lead, we start to split it. And then when they become a client, that's me, right? I'm doing most of the work there. So this is kind of like the tipping point where we're splitting everything. So here, pretty cool. When you're talking to your buyers, especially if they're first-time home buyers, you can also create campaigns that are more targeted on their needs. So we have this campaign here called Buyer Nurture. So that'll probably be really good for you. This Buyer Nurture campaign comes into play when they're not quite new, but they're not, like, you've talked to them, but they're not ready. So the buyer nurture campaign lives in the KV Core library. So if you look in the KV Core library, there's way more campaigns in here that might be useful for you in addition to the ones that we added, right? We added these two, these are also ours, but we took the most popular ones, put them in my campaigns, kind of like the default, the catch-all campaigns. And then we have more specific ones here in the KV Core library. So in here we have this buyer nurture, right? There's also a conversation starter for buyer leads. Both of them are good, right? And so just look at those and see which one is going to work best for you. So you can either just kind of explore by clicking on its name, or you can just add it to your campaigns by adding it to your library, either one. So conversation starter for buyer leads. If we click on that one, it's a 7-day conversation. Oh, and mine has an error in it. But it's a 7-day conversation starter for buyer campaigns, or excuse me, campaign for buyer leads, right? And so it's 7 days, and every day it's kind of like gives them something to try to connect with them. I would like to use this one, the conversation starter, for maybe my cold leads if I have them, or if I have people who like I've lost touch with. The idea here is 7 days, intense follow-up. I don't have to do most of it. I should probably call in there, switch up between emails and texts. And then at the end of those 7 days, I might add #cold. Right? This might be my last ditch effort, to get them to work as a lead. Or the other one in here, this buyer nurture campaign, I like this one a lot because this one is actually built out. Oh, my system is all kinds of buggy because that is not the right campaign. Let's try add to my library. So this nurture campaign, there we go. That was weird. So this is what it should look like. So this nurture campaign is also a once a week email that's sent out, and it's going to be these were tailor made for providing value. Right? One of the biggest things that you want to be doing with any of your leads, you want to be providing value and engaging with them, right? Because if you're just asking them for things, right? You have to build that relationship, and you do that by providing value. So I really like this nurture campaign. This is really good for after you've talked to someone. So that's why I was kind of asking, have you talked to them? How do you know that they're a first-time home buyer? So I would start everyone on that default new lead buyer campaign. And then once they do talk to me, then I'm going to move them to this nurture campaign, because this nurture campaign is exactly that. It's nurturing them. It's not as much trying to get interaction from them, because in theory, I've already talked to them. Right? I've talked to them. I would probably honestly edit this with a couple phone calls or text messages in here, right? There's 2 text messaging in here. I'm a phone call person, so I'm a big fan of that. But I like this campaign because it's all about providing value. I would not put my brand new leads on this. I would save this for maybe my prospects kind of after they've talked to me. And the other thing that I would do is I want to point out here, this starts when. So if you're multitasking, this is kind of visually important. So look at my screen. So with the campaigns, we talked about the starts when, kind of that start logic. So the default campaigns that we've provided are mostly status and deal type, new lead buyer, new lead seller, active lead buyer, right? There's no start logic on here, which means to use it, you have to turn it on, right? Let's get that turned on. So I have to have it turned on, but then I have to manually add it to someone. Or I can click edit and change this campaign logic. So maybe I want this to add on every time I add #nurture campaign, right? That makes sense to me. So if I add #nurture campaign to someone, this smart campaign is going to apply to them, right? I like that, right? #nurture campaign, right? So I made that little change. I went in and I edited it so it had specific logic. Otherwise, I can just manually add this to someone. If it doesn't have a start logic, that's how it's going to apply. But I am a big fan of this nurture campaign because it provides a lot of value. Like you definitely want to engage. That's a big part of smart campaigns. But so for example, how to find motivated sellers. If I go to edit this, it's going to show me it's hi first name, just a quick tip that might help you find properties with motivated sellers. If you go to my website, and adds a link in, and do a search, you can put the word motivated in the keyword box and see all the properties where the term motivated is showing up in the MLS remarks for this listing, right? So I'm providing value. I'm showing my buyers how they can find listings with motivated sellers, right? So that's what this, it's a lot of value add. Starter home and investment properties. Let's look at that. A lot of people buy real estate with emotion, like to prioritize things like how the kitchen looks and the size of the yard, or whether or not the house has a garage. These things are legit to think about, but I also like to coach my clients to be a little bit more strategic with their home search criteria. So for example, I really like, again, this is all about providing value. My thought with a smart campaign is think about how you would respond if you only had one lead, right? If you only had one person to nurture, what value would you give them? How long would you wait to talk to them, right? Because I don't want to talk to them every day. That's overwhelming. So thinking about different things like that. And that's what this and all smart campaigns do, right? It allows me to duplicate myself essentially, right? Because I'm able to go in and say, okay, I want to tell you about this value add. So here it is, right? And so that's what I'm doing here. It's all about providing value because our job is to stay front of mind and to build that relationship. So that way when they're ready to buy real estate, we're the first person they think of. And we can't help when they're ready, but we can do our job to make sure that we're front of mind for them. That's what we can do. Right. And so this is just another way to do that. So I'm a big fan of this nurture. Again, let's walk through that one more time. I have my smart campaigns. I click on manage campaigns. This nurture campaign is not included here in the original My Campaigns. So for those of you who are new, you probably have never seen this one before. If you go to the KV Core library, this is where some of our lesser used ones live. And so I have that conversation starter for one, and I have that buyer nurture. So I take my buyer nurture, I add it to my library. Now I can go into my campaigns. And since I'm a hot mess, I've got a bunch of these, right? So it's gonna be this one on the bottom, the user created, and I just toggle it on, I make it active. So that way now people can use it. And if I want to, right, this one has a no start triggers defined. So I would recommend editing it. So you can just add it with a hashtag, or you can leave it as is and just manually add it. That works too. Good question. All right, we've got about 10 minutes left. What other questions do you all want to go over? Sky's the limit. And yeah, I really need to clean this out. I have a bunch of a bunch of examples in here. And I want to show you real quick that first tip that talked about finding motivated buyers. I did that on my other screen. And so all of our websites look a little bit different, but for the most part, what the tip that it's giving us, so if you go to this search right here in the middle or any search, if I click on more options, it's going to take me to more options. And so what it's talking about specifically, I'm going to change my bed count. So I want to give us all the options here. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you have keywords, and these keywords search all the MLS descriptions. So if I type in motivated and apply that filter, it's going to show you all listings where the word motivated is used in the description. There we go. Now I have a couple demo MLSs, which is why it's so big. Yours will not go all that big. If it does, you can reach out to support. We can always limit your search. But so, for example, let's look at some of these right here, maybe this one. And as I look at the description, seller motivated, right there. Let's look at this one. Price reduction, motivated seller, right? So this is a good list of properties for people to be able to look at, right? So pretty cool. All right. Any other questions, or should we get 8 minutes back in our day to go explore the listing tab and our smart campaigns? Cool. Well, thank you all for coming. We are here. Check us out, live training calendar every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We've got, a planned topic, and then we've got lots of Q&A. So it's a great place to come and get your questions answered or pick up little nuggets, right? I love the listings tab, going in and clicking save. It's just one of my favorite little things that you can do. And again, the whole point, find something that's going to grow your business and then commit to doing it, right? Whatever that is, the QR codes on water bottles, awesome. Do that for every open house you have from now on. Do it when you door knock, right? Just, make different, maybe, do a label, do a QR code for maybe one of the listings in the neighborhood, right? Something like that. Yeah, lots of cool things that you can do in KV Core. So thank you all for coming. I love the questions. Here to answer them as much as I can. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I will see you all online. Thank you. Now go sell some houses.